Thank you, Luana, and welcome, folks. As we mentioned, our first stop will be Turlock Lake. As you drive, I encourage you to observe and enjoy our scenic agricultural diversity. Highway 132 closely follows our section of the Tuolumne River, just a small remnant of the waters that originate at the 12,000-foot Sierra Crest in Yosemite National Park. Enjoy your drive through our farmland countryside. It quickly becomes rolling hills. We're not in the flatland anymore. When you see a line of gnarly old giant oak and cottonwood trees, you know the river is right there. We're located in the center of the third richest agricultural county in the nation, with farmers in Stanislaus County growing over 250 different kinds of crops from almonds to zucchini, plus the animals. If you are taking this tour early in the spring, the tree crops, almonds or almonds, peaches, apricots, and cherries, offer an unforgettable panorama of beautiful shades of pink and pure white blossoms. As we head toward Turlock Lake, we'd like to fill you in on some water and power history in the valley. Established in 1887, the Turlock Irrigation District was the first publicly owned irrigation district in the state and is one of only 4 in California today that also provides retail electric energy directly to homes, farms, and businesses. I'd like to introduce you now to Keith Boggs.
It's my pleasure to share my interests with Valley visitors. You know, since 1923, the Turlock Irrigation District has been providing safe, reasonably priced, and reliable electricity to residential, farm, business, industrial, and municipal accounts in a service area that now encompasses almost 700 square miles in portions of Stanislaus, Merced, Tuolumne, and even Mariposa counties. In partnership with neighboring Modesto Irrigation District, the Turlock Irrigation District, TID, built the LaGrange Dam in 1893 of huge granite blocks to divert water from the Tuolumne River into the district's respective canals. But without a storage reservoir, the farmers were vulnerable to drought years. So within a few years, TID built a 3,500-acre reservoir between LaGrange and Waterford that became known as Turlock Lake. The districts joined forces again in the 1920s and built the original Don Pedro Dam, higher on the Tuolumne River in Tuolumne County, to store water for a full irrigation season as river flows frequently dwindled to a mere trickle in the late summer. Then, after several recurrent dry winters, the districts agreed to build a much larger dam to replace the original one and store enough water necessary to bridge multiple years of drought. In 1971, the new Don Pedro Dam and powerhouse was completed with a total storage capacity of over 7 times larger than the first dam. With the first dam at LaGrange came the opportunity to generate hydroelectric power. The district's customers voted overwhelmingly in 1923 to keep the power for public use. Thus, the TID became the first irrigation district in California to enter the retail power business. The districts have kept up with increasing needs from business and population by purchasing power on the wholesale market, while continually investigating new energy opportunities. As a result, our valley still enjoys a relatively generous power supply at reasonable prices.
I'm going to interrupt with a helpful heads up here. Keep an eye out for Roberts Ferry Road at the Roberts Ferry Schoolhouse on the right, and you'll turn here. As you turn right next to the school, in just a few hundred yards is the historic Roberts Ferry covered bridge. It has been rebuilt to modern safety standards, but this is close to the original site of the first ferry crossing of the Tuolumne River in 1850, the river crossing to the gold fields of the Motherlode and early commerce from farming enterprises. There was a big flour mill here on the banks of the Tuolumne River. History buffs might want to check out the historical markers in place here. If you do choose to park by the bridge and walk back, pause the CD here. Okay, now we'll continue our water and power story.
With these large bodies of water, all man-made, but now usually named as lakes for the dams built to contain them, came opportunities for recreation. For many years, Turlock Lake was known as the beach during long, hot valley summers, and in the 50s, the Turlock Irrigation District leased Turlock Lake with its 26 miles of shoreline and over 200 acres of foothill property to the state of California to create Turlock Lake State Recreation Area. Open year-round with camping, picnicking, fishing, swimming, boating, and water skiing, this area offers visitors an opportunity to see the variety of native plant life that once flourished along the rivers in the San Joaquin Valley. And despite the decimation of our Native American tribes who lived in this area, there are still descendants practicing and sharing ancient cultural traditions and passing them on to the next generations. The rich riparian habitat along the Tuolumne River and adjacent sloughs, with their forested banks and tangled underbrush, provides a haven for birds and animals, and boasts hundreds of species of flowers, herbs, shrubs, and ferns, as well as towering old native trees. Now, to back up just a bit, gold was discovered along the banks of the Tuolumne River by a group of French sailors about 1850. For over 50 years, various mining operations took place, eventually ceasing entirely by 1952. Panning for gold does remain a lucrative, popular hobby in many of our rivers, keeping alive the California 49er gold rush in Motherlode history right here on the edge of our Central Valley. From several high points, visitors can view the surrounding savannas and some of the cattle ranches and nearby orchards.
Here's your next set of road directions. Roberts Ferry Road ends at Lake Road. Then turn left on Lake Road at the arrow sign reading Turlock Reservoir. Lake Road follows the shoreline of Turlock Lake. Continue driving about a mile until you reach the gated Ranger Station boat launch entrance. Continue listening until the next bell for directions, so if you are here now, look for a parking spot. Being a state park, there is a minimum gate charge of $6. There is a senior citizen discount, and talk to the ranger about just parking for a few minutes or to just turn around. If you are continuing the tour immediately, this is the turnaround spot. There are restrooms and picnic areas available throughout the recreation area, and we do suggest stopping a bit to stretch your legs and enjoy this peaceful water wonderland on the edge of the Central Valley. Back to you, Keith.
There's a lot of history in this area. If you had continued on Highway 132 past Roberts Ferry Road, a long, lazy, winding loop, about 25 miles or so, will take you around Turlock Lake into beautiful wooded countryside, orchards, ranches, and campgrounds. Eventually, the roads converge and you'll come to this beach area. This is suggested as an extra side trip, not included in this CD tour. Another suggested side trip of major historical interest is to continue just a few miles further on Highway 132 to LaGrange. Original name was French Bar for the French gold-seeking sailors that we talked about a moment ago. This site, the very first dam on the Tuolumne River, gold mining relics, a huge mining dredge, and much, much more. LaGrange has an official population of only a few hundred people, but is actually considered a California historic ghost town. If you have time to do these trips today, another hour or two, just pause the CD and resume by returning to this spot. Incidentally, food is available at our next destination. Lake Road separates the campgrounds from the day-use area, our destination, offering an excellent perspective of the grounds, the river and sloughs, and miles of dredger tailing pipes, rock piles, byproduct of a half-century of gold mining. Well, that's it for me now. Thanks for visiting, and I hope you'll look into more of our historic Tuolumne River locations and come back soon. Pause the CD now so you can resume the narrative on track 4, Back on the Road.